Tim Doherty, New York, New York. Monologue from the movie Slingblade. I reckon you want to know what it is I'm doing in here. I reckon it's because I killed somebody, but I reckon you want to know how come I killed somebody, so I'll start the front and tell you. I lived down back of my parents' place most of my life, and the little shed that my daddy built for me. They didn't want me in the house with the rest of them, so I mostly just sat around the shed, staring at the ground. I didn't have no floor in it, but I had made a whole dugout that I could lay down in, a quilt or two that I put down there. My daddy was a hard-working man most of his life. Not that I could say the same for myself, so I mostly just sat around the shed, tinkering around with the lawnmower too, went to school off and on from time to time. But the children out there, they were very cruel to me. Made quite a bit of sport of me, made fun of me quite a bit, so mostly I just sat around out there in the shed. My daddy worked down at the planter mill, down at the sawmill for an old man named Dixon. Old man Dixon was a very cruel fellow. Didn't treat his employees well or pay them much of a wage. I reckon he didn't pay my daddy much of a wage, but I reckon he got by all right. He used to come out, one or the other of them, usually my mother, feed me pretty regular, so I know he made enough so I could have mushroom biscuits 3 or 4 times a week, but old man Dixon, he had a boy named Jesse Dixon. Jesse was more cruel than his daddy was. He used to make quite a bit of sport of me when I'd be down there at the schoolhouse. Used to take advantage of the girls in the neighborhood. He used to make fun of me quite a bit, you know. He used to say that my mother was a very pretty woman. He used to say that quite a bit when I'd be there down at the schoolhouse. I reckon you want me to get on with it and tell you what happened, so I reckon I'll tell you. I was sitting out in the shed one evening, not doing much, just staring at the wall, waiting on my mother to give me my Bible lesson there. And I heard a commotion up in the house, so I run up on the screen and porch to see what was going on. I looked inside and seen my mother laying on the floor without any clothes on. I seen Jesse Dixon laying on top of her. He was having his way with her. I just seen red. I walked down the porch and I picked up a Kaiser blade. Some folks call it a sling blade. I called it a Kaiser blade. It's got a long wood handle, kind of like an axe handle. With a long blade, dull on one edge and sharp on the other. It's what the highway boys used to cut down weeds and whatnot. Anyhow, I took the Kaiser blade, some folks called it a sling blade, I called it a Kaiser blade, and I went inside and I hit Jesse Dixon upside the head with it, knocked him off my mother. I reckon that didn't satisfy me, so I took the sharp edge and I hit Jesse Dixon in the neck with it, just plumb near cut his head off, killed him. You know, my mother jumped up and started hollering, "What'd you kill Jesse for? What'd you kill Jesse for?" Come to find out, my mother didn't mind what Jesse was doing to her. That made me madder than what Jesse made me. So I took the Kaiser blade. Some folks called it a sling blade. I called it a Kaiser blade. And I hit my mother upside the head with it. Killed her. Some folks asked me if I were to do it the same way. Would I do it the same way? If I had another chance, I reckon I would. Anyhow, they put me in here, and here I've been for a great long while.